Happy Hanukkah and Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Can you hear me? This is Ariella speaking. And as usual, we have about a 15-second lag time. So I'm just going to wait a second until you can let me know whether or not you hear me. Franklin, Lanny, Vicky, Adele, Troy. Boy, I'm happy tonight. Welcome to all of you. I'm so happy you're here with me tonight. And I'm actually here tonight. And Yona, my cousin, as you know, is behind me. She's going to do our candles again, so I don't set my hair on fire. And our cute doggy. We're going to have a regular service tonight, but first we're going to start off with the candle lighting and the blessings. Yona's going to be behind me. Hopefully you can see her. Troy, thanks for letting me know that you can only stay for a while. Do the blessings and calling. Okay, good. We'll start off with the first blessing, and then I'm going to, Yona, you want to light the shamash? And then we'll come back to her in just a minute as soon as we do the blessings. And tonight is the night we only do the two. The first night is for the three with the Shehechianu, but not this evening. Tonight's night 4, if memory serves. Blessed are you, Lord, our God, sovereign of the universe, who performed miracles for our ancestors in those days at this time. And that's the second one, I'm sorry. Got the wrong slide here. Blessed are you, Lord, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has sanctified us with his commandments and commanded us to light the lights of Hanukkah. Let me do this correctly, please. Blessed are you, Lord, our God, sovereign of the universe, who performed miracles for our ancestors in those days at this time. Okay, Yona. We kindle these lights to commemorate the saving acts, miracles, and wonders which you have performed for our forefathers in those days at this time through your holy priests. Throughout the 8 days of Hanukkah, these lights are sacred, and we are not permitted to make use of them, but only to look at them in order to offer thanks and praise to your great name for your miracles, for your wonders, and for your salvations. Can do Mourner's Cottage tonight. Our community buried Irish this morning, a pillar of the Jackson, Mississippi Jewish community. Of course we can, Lanny, and because you helped me out with this before, I have made certain since that point that I always have it on board at the end of the PowerPoint in case anybody requests it. Thank you very much. I'm sure that Mr. Rubin will be very honored that you are choosing to remember him, and I would expect nothing less from you. Yona is going to read a thought by Abraham Heschel. Loudly, okay, Yona?
Okay. Refreshed and renewed, attired in festive garments, with candles nodding dreamily to unutterable expectation, to intuitions of eternity. Some of us are overcome with a feeling as if almost all they would say would be like a veil. There is not enough grandeur in our souls to be able to unravel in words the knot of time and eternity. One should like to sing for all men, for all generations. There is a song in the wind and joy in the trees. The Sabbath arrives in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night. Eternity utters a day. Where are the words that could compete with such might?
Hope all of you enjoyed that as much as I did. We have Ahavat Olam, everlasting love. I think tonight we'll do some Hebrew, some English. On Monday, I believe, or Tuesday, I believe it was, I think that we did all English. Tonight we'll do half and half. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael, Amha Ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadata. Alken Adonai Eloheinu b'shachenu uvkumenu, nasiach b'chukecha, v'nasmak b'divrei toratecha, uvmifotecha leolam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu ve'orek yamenu, uvahem negei yamam v'layla, va'ahavatha al tasir mimenu la'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Now, as you know, we're going to do the reception of the Sabbath tonight, Kabbalat Shabbat, and this is how Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav starts his evenings, and we're going to start ours in the same way. This is what I do in my home, so this is the second time I'll be doing this tonight. May it be God's will that I be privileged to receive this holy Shabbat and happiness with joy, with song and excitement. Protect me so that no sadness or depression, no anguish or worry will mar my Shabbat. May I be happy with all my soul, with all my heart, and with all my strength. Let this happiness without limit encompass the world, your people Israel, me, my loved ones, and the members of my family. And I'm sorry I said family there instead of what I have written, which is household, because I do that when I do it at home, so I pretty much have this memorized. Now, you know that the lighting of the candles is a rabbinic institution, and it formally ushers in the Sabbath. We're supposed to have a minimum of 2, signifying remember and observe, Zachor and Shemor, in Exodus and Deuteronomy, respectively. These lights are only flickering flames, yet flames illumine our uncertain steps. Flames purify and renew, soften and refine. They brighten and make warm. Flames remind us of Sabbaths long past and of their beauty that delighted our hearts. May they inspire us to work for the great Sabbath of peace. And now the candle blessing. Hanukkah and Shabbat, yes, and I had to do some to try and remember which one came first, Lanny. And there are indeed a lot of candles tonight. So we're going to move on for a moment to one of my favorite things to do, which is pretending. So we're going to pretend that we lit our candles, which probably most of us have already done for real, that we've gone to shul and we came home before we're getting ready to eat dinner. So Rabbi Yossi ben Yehuda in the Talmud says that when we come home from shul, we're accompanied by 2 angels, one good and one bad. And this song from the 17th century, Shalom Aleichem, has to do with this particular story. This is my favorite version. Thanks for letting me know there's no sound. It looks to me, according to my readings here, that you can. I don't know if it was just on that one slide or what the problem was. Can you hear me now, Lanny and everybody else? Let me know, yes or no. I'll try and do some doctoring here if you still can't hear me. Yes, hopefully meaning yes, you can hear me. So maybe it was just with that one slide. And I'm sorry you missed it because, as I said, that's my favorite. So we won't play it again, but we will go back. And we're going to return now to our rituals for the blessings for the wine, the hand washing, and the bread. Glad you sang it to yourself, Adele. I'm sure your voice is probably better than mine, especially tonight. So, guess who we're going to have now? Lanny's going to take us through Kiddush. Thank you so much, Lanny. I love having you here. As you know, Kiddush means sanctification or holy. And traditionally, I'm going to put his picture up here before I start playing him. I guess that sounded a little silly, didn't it? The creation story from Genesis describing how God rested on the seventh day, a blessing over the wine, which Lanny's going to do for us, and then a blessing over Shabbat. So Lanny, here you go. And again, as always, I thank you so much. Sorry, I don't know what kind of an issue I'm having tonight, and I don't know why you can hear me and not Lanny. What is the problem with the slides? Everything seems to be okay. Erica is here tonight. If you all pardon me for 1 second, let's see if we can get her to square this away for us. Lanny, I'm going to put you on full picture while we try and work this out. I am so sorry, everyone. And missing Lanny is the best part of missing tonight, or the worst part of tonight. Well, we are having an issue here. So we'll try this on the hand washing. The hand washing, like the other blessings that we're doing, is a rabbinic ordinance from temple times. This is when the priests were the only ones who used to wash their hands before they ate their sacred food. Eventually, it was extended to all Jews. And I'm going to try now. We're going to try something different here, and hopefully we're not going to get too much feedback, but we're going to give this a whirl and see what happens here. Please accept my apologies.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim.
And since we have that, I'm sorry, but I can't bear to go through the evening without Lanny. So now that we may have this working, we're going to do things kind of inside out here.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pori hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh bereshit ki hu yom techila lamikra'e kodesh zecher siyat Mitzrayim Kivanu v'achata v'yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodeshecha v'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen. Shabbat Shalom, my friends.
Shabbat Shalom, and I'm happy now. We've already done the hand washing, so we're going to move on to the challah. This is our final ritual before we partake of our meal, and this is the blessing of the bread. And as you know, the picture doesn't show it, but the bread and the knife are supposed to be completely covered, both above and below. Then we uncover the uncut loaves, we raise it, and we say the blessing. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael at HaShabbat, Lasot et HaShabbat Ladoratam Brit Olam. B'ni vein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et HaShamayim ve'et ha'aretz, Uvayom HaShvi'i Shavat Va'nefash. And next to Lanny, this is one of my favorite things, and this is Hine Matov, the first verse from Psalm 133, and it's my way of getting to express how happy I am that we're all here together tonight. And so let me take this opportunity to say thank you.
שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומנעים. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. לה 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 לה, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. לה 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 לה, הנה מה טוב ומנעים. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, הנה מה טוב ומנעים, מה טוב ומנעים. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב.
I love that. Okay, I'm going to wait a couple seconds here and give you time to let me know what you'd like to do. You want this Psalm 96? It's a medium length one of my favorites, especially since we should be joyful because of the miracle of the Festival of Lights today. You want it in English or Hebrew? Excuse me. Yes, we don't need it. We need a campfire. Good comment, Adele. Okay, well, since nobody's Hebrew. Okay, Kimberly, great. We'll go ahead and do this in Hebrew. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol ha'aretz. Shiru l'Adonai baruch shmo, basru miyom liyom yeshuato. Sapru v'goyim kavodo b'chol ha'amim niflotav. Ki gadol Adonai hula meod, norahu al kol Elohim. Ki kol Elohi ha'amim elalim, v'Adonai shemayim asah. Hod v'hadar lafanav, oz ve'teferet b'mikdasho. Havu l'Adonai mishpachot amim, havu l'Adonai kavod va'oz. Havu l'Adonai kavod shemo, suminhat uvo'u lahatzrotav. Hishtahavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh, hilu mipanov kol ha'aretz. Imnu v'goyim Adonai malach aftikon tevel baltimot, yadin amim b'mesharim. Yismahu Hashemayim v'tegel ha'aretz, Yiram hayam la'o. Ya'lo sadai v'chol asher bo, az yirananu kol ha'atze ya'ar. Lifnei Adonai kiva lishpot ha'aretz, yishpot tevel betzedek, va'amim be'emunoto. Thank you, everybody, for bearing with me with this. And now we're coming to the true reception of the Sabbath here. The Talmud tells us about Rabbi Hanina, who would put on his Shabbat clothes and stand up and say at sunset, "Come, let us go forth and meet the Queen of Shabbat." And Rabbi Yanai put on his festive robes and exclaimed, "Come, O bride, come, O bride." And this is a saying by Chaim Nachman Bailek. The sun has already disappeared beyond the treetops. Come, let us go and welcome the Sabbath Queen. She is already descending among us, holy and blessed, and with her are angels, a host of peace and rest. Come, O Queen, peace be unto you, O angels of peace. Sit among us, O pure Shabbat Queen, and enlighten us with your splendor. And my favorite line, tonight and tomorrow, then you may pass on. And we, for our part, will honor you by wearing beautiful clothing, by singing Zemarot, by praying, and by eating 3 meals. And with complete rest, and with pleasant rest. Bless me with peace, O angels of peace. And these stories from the Talmud about Rabbi Hanina and Yanai served as a basis for the Lahad Odihim, which I'm sure we're all familiar with. And again, as with Shalom Aleichem, this is one of my favorite versions.
Shamor v'zakor v'tibur echad, ishmiyanu el hamiyuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, v'shem u'tiferet l'tivah. Lehem todim, lechad nikrat kala. בני שבת לקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת לקבלה. בואי ושלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצרה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי הנה, בואי הנה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת לקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת לקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת לקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת לקבלה.
The Shema is a declaration of faith in one God, and it's considered to be the most important prayer in Judaism. As you know, we're obligated to say the Shema twice daily, in the morning and at night. And every time that I think about this, I think about Rabbi Akiva, who was reciting the Shema, and I say this every time we do the service, and I really do. Think about Rabbi Akiva. His skin was being scraped off with a large iron comb as punishment by the Romans for teaching Torah. And this is the first and main paragraph of the Shema. Let's say it together, and then we're going to listen to the first part sung in Hebrew. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and all your might. And these words which I command you today shall be in your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and you shall speak of them when you are sitting at home, and when you go on a journey, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. You shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be jewels between your eyes. You shall inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Mihamoka is based on the Song of the Sea poem from Exodus 15, and it answers the question, who is like you, Lord? And the answer, of course, is that there is no one like him. Go ahead and do this one in English. The Ma'ariv, blessed are you, Hashem, our Elohim, sovereign of the universe, who by his word brings on evenings, with wisdom opens the gates of dawn, and with understanding alters periods, and changes the seasons, and orders the stars in their constellations in the heavens as he wills. That was a good break. He creates day and night, unfurling light before darkness and darkness before light. He removes day and brings night, and separates between day and between night. Hashem, ruler of hosts, is his name. Almighty One, living and enduring, continually may he reign over us forever and ever. Blessed are you, Hashem, who brings on evenings. The Hatzi Kaddish, or half Kaddish, is sometimes called the Reader's Kaddish because it separates parts of a service. It's a hymn of praise about the greatness of God, which is one of my favorite things to do. And as we start to move into the interactive part of the evening, I thought this would be a good place for us to put the Hatzi Kaddish. Excuse me for rustling around with the papers here. Debbie Friedman's version of Misha Berach. We're going to ask you to type in anybody for Hanukkah this season. Adele, I can't read this right at the moment. I'm sure the group will read this. Anyone that you think needs to have physical or spiritual healing, compassion, restoration, strength. And please remember that you're allowed to type in your own name. And I'd like to start off with my friend Terry, who I think is going to have her very last, fortunately, chemotherapy this week. So we'll start off with this beautiful music, and I'm going to leave it up for a moment. Adele, let me scroll down here a minute. Adele, your mother with a torn rotator cuff. Myself with a thrown shoulder. You'll have to tell us about that, and all those on our Torah healing list. Aunt Flo, I had an Aunt Flo, Kimberly. Aunt Flo being treated for cancer, for myself for living with lupus. And strongly you are, in fact, living with that beautifully, Kimberly. And as always, thanks for sharing with us. Dana Moya Tracy, a dear friend from high school years, recovering from a serious illness. Always for my mother, for sadness and depression and loneliness. A complete and speedy recovery for all our brethren. Thank you, Glenn. For myself and husband, we have been fighting the flu for a week now, and Rippy is sick too. Vicky is my dog's previous nanny, and she left me and went to Tennessee, which you've heard me tell you before, and I'm so sorry to hear that she and Steve are sick, and Rippy is their dog. And boy, am I sorry he's sick, as well as you, Vicky, of course. And guest 998, my best friend Steph, down with the flu. Myself and Jackie, second anniversary of losing our mother. Boy, that's tough. You try. Thanks, Ariella. Oh, you're most welcome, and please don't thank me. I'm telling you, Kimberly, from everything that I know about you, you are so strong. I really admire you a lot. You've been through so much since a very, very young age. My wife, Lourdes Brooks, her hand's so painful after she wakes up every morning. Franklin, I'm sorry to hear that. Please give my best to Lourdes. Adele, your mom and Aunt Flo, Vicky, your hubby, and all the rest. And as usual, Lanny is sending love and best wishes to everyone that's been on her list. Ugh on the flu. And are we turned down here now? Lanny, I'm going to do just a couple of other things, and then we'll do the Mourner's Cottage before we even try to say anything about Hanukkah, okay? Excuse me while I rustle some papers here. Again, my apologies, and I'm scooting my chair as well. So, gratitude. Anything that we're happy about. Oh, I'd appreciate that, Franklin. Yes, do let Lourdes know that I wish her the best, and I hope to talk with her soon. Anything that you're grateful for, anything that makes you happy this week particularly. And I'm going to go ahead and start off and say we may be having someone new do some presentations during the week on either the Talmud or the Tanakh or something. I'm not quite sure, but what I wanted to tell you was his name is Jeffrey Horner. He's a Gabbai in his synagogue, and if we can get him to come with us, it will be very exciting. And I hope that when I speak with him later on this evening, that we can actually get him to come. So I'm really happy about that. Anybody else? Anything good happened to anybody this week? Anything make you particularly happy? I'm going to start with some music here, I think. Guest 998, wonderful that you have support. So important. And Kimberly, you're thankful for your husband and his gentle heart. let's try the converse of, oh, poetry does not play well in this venue, sorry. I'm not quite sure what that means, Adele, but I'm going to move on here. Let's look at the converse and see what might have made you sad, something worried you this week, bothered you. I have found that our group here, as you can probably tell, we're quite empathic, and so I'm always comfortable sharing. And anything you'd like to type in, anything that's made you sad, worried you, bothered you, feel free. Adele, if you're apologizing because what I didn't have time to read was poetry, please don't do that. Anything that you choose to write in, poetry, whatever, we're always glad to have. I guess it's good that everybody's happy and grateful this week. Four days of latkes now. My stomach is begging for relief. How do you spell relief? You got it correctly. You spelled it correctly, Lanny. Okay, I'm going to move on here for a moment and see if I can actually pull this up. Before we say anything about Hanukkah, because it is getting late and I want to make sure that we get this in, I'm going to go ahead and read this in English, unless you would prefer that I give it a whirl in Hebrew, Lanny, but we have some people here who may do better, although I do have it written here with both. What is your preference? I know that last time that you did it with us, that you typed it in Hebrew. So I'm going to wait here a minute for Lanny. Hebrew. Thanks, Lanny. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemai Rabbah, Ba'alma divrah chirutei v'yomek malchutei. B'hayachon uvyomechon uvhaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv. Vimru Amen. I'm going to go ahead and slow down as we get towards the end here, because you should be responding with Amen and just follow Lanny's lead. Yehe Shemai Rabbah Mavarak La'alam Ulalmei Almaya. Yitbarak V'yish Tabak V'yit Ba'ar V'yit Raman V'yit Naseh V'yit Hadar V'yit Halef V'yit Halal Shemek Dekutshab Brihu Leila Mikol Bircha V'shirata Tushbechata V'nefmata Da'amarim Ba'alma V'imru Amen. Yehe Shlama Rabbah Min Shemaya V'chamin Tovim Aleinu V'kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom Bim Rabbah Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'kol Yisrael V'kol Ha'olam V'imru Amen. It's been a long time since I said that. Sorry I didn't do such a good job, Lanny, but my heart was in it, okay? And again, I think you're wonderful for honoring him in that fashion. And obviously I didn't change the slides as we were going along here. My apologies for that. Well, we only have a few minutes left, and you know what? That's okay, because I suspect that I'm going to go ahead and play the Elenu, and then we'll have just a couple minutes, and I'm not going to be presumptuous and assume that nobody knows anything about Hanukkah, because I suspect that most of you know more than I do. So we're going to conclude with our usual Elenu. Was beautiful. I think since it's getting late, I'm going to just make a couple of comments. And I'm sure everyone here is going to know exactly what it is that I'm talking about, and you've probably heard it a million times, but I'm going to give it a stab anyway. So the word Hanukkah means dedication or induction, and actually referring to the rededication of the Second Holy Temple and its altar after it was desecrated and defiled, not destroyed, just desecrated and defiled by the Greeks. Also, if you split the word Hanukkah in two, it's Hanu, meaning they rested, and Ka, which is the numerical value for 25. On the 25th day of Kislev, the Maccabees rested from their battle, and as you know, the Maccabees are the ones we're talking about for Hanukkah. They marched into Jerusalem, and they are the ones who did the rededication. So in the 2nd century BCE, the army of Jews, known as the Maccabees, they rebelled in response to an attempt to Hellenize, the Hellenization by the Syrians and the Greeks. And as you know, you don't find that in our Tanakh. It's in the Book of Maccabees 1 and 2, which is our apocryphal literature. The 7-branch menorah was a big part of the 7-branch menorah, mind you, was a big part of the daily service in temple times. We call it the Festival of Lights, and therein lies all these lights. You know that when they overtook when the Maccabees came in and were about to rededicate the temple, they only had one little cruse of pure oil that hadn't been desecrated, and it was only going to last for one day, and apparently it takes 8 days to produce a new batch, if you will. But this one cruse lasted for 8 days and nights, and that's part of the miracle that we're referring to with the Festival of Lights that Hanukkah refers to. And again, I'm sure all of you know all about this. And I'm just going to move on now, since it's getting late, to a couple of things that I have some of my friends who ask questions who are non-Jews. And it depends. We have a split group, dreidel, whichever you prefer. The spinning top, the 4 letters, Nun, Gimel, He, and Shin, refers to a great miracle happened there. And in Israel, they use the pei because it happened here. So the pei for here instead of there. That's what they do in Israel. And what I thought was kind of neat about this, and I'm sure you probably know this too, is that when the Greeks were forbidding the Jews to read the Torah, the Jews used to go into the caves to study Torah. And whenever an army or a spy from the Greeks used to come and find them, what they would do, they being the Jews, would whip out their dreidels and start playing and just have it appear as though they were playing games. So I think that that was pretty interesting. Now here we're talking about gelt, the money. The Code of Jewish Law says that the candles that we have in our menorah on Hanukkah are to be used only to recall the miracle. It's not to be used for including things like counting money, not for reading and not counting money. And one of the reasons that I think that, or it is said, that money is addressed during Hanukkah is because this helps us recall the miracle, that we are not to be counting money. And we are, of course, to light at least one candle per night per household. And back in the days when everyone was pretty poor, even if you had to go door to door for money and you had to give up wine, you had to have a candle. So this is a time when the poor used to be taken care of by those who were not so poor, to enable them to be able to have at least one candle per household. And of course, this is one of my favorite things. I told you that I'm trying to look over here for a second on the chat room here, see if there was anything critical that I missed. So here we have the food, and I told you that my cousin was kind enough, since I'm on a very low-carb diet, that she made zucchini latkes for me. So obviously, and I'm sure we all know about our favorite foods on Hanukkah, latkes, and everything's deep fried, obviously having to do with the oil, such as donuts, particularly the jelly donuts in Israel. And the thing that I find most important in addition to this is the dairy food. You probably know the story about Judith, and we don't know if this story actually happened or not, but there was a Syrian/Greek general who was ruling, if you will, in a town in Judea called Bethulia. He tried to starve out the inhabitants of the city, Jews as it turns out, and this woman named Judith, who was the daughter of a priest and a widow, went into the city and said that she had an important message. She wanted to tell the general how to capture the town. He was trying to starve them out, and she was telling them that they would only eat kosher food and trying to advise him. Now this general, he was absolutely captivated by Judith. She was still a beautiful woman. So one night they were having dinner together, and she kept feeding the general cheese, chunk by chunk by chunk. And in between every chunk, she fed him some undiluted wine, which was his favorite. And when he finally got so drunk that he passed out, she chopped his head off, put it in her dress, and just walked away with it. Yeah, I thought that would be a great way to end the evening, don't you think? Okay, that pretty much ends the evening. As I say, I'm not going to be presumptuous. I'm sure that most of you probably knew every little word I said. Latkes look beautiful and tasted good. Lots of applesauce, still too heavy. Can't find patev gelt around here, and I'm allergic to milk. Oh, Okay, as I said, I'm not going to insult anyone by assuming that you didn't know anything about Hanukkah. So if I did, by giving such basic information, please forgive me. I just wanted to pull out some of the main points. I know that some of us are new. Ending so soon, you're very sweet. Oh my goodness, it's only 9:01. And considering that I'm usually a pig and keep you here so late, I don't feel so bad, at least not as bad as I usually do. I need to put up the donation slide. As you know, we'd love to have you donate. Everything's tax deductible. But most importantly for me, since I'm the director of outreach, and I, by the way, am a volunteer, I get no money. Anytime you see me, hear me, or get an email from me, I'm a volunteer, just like I would like you to be. So anything that you think that you might be able to contribute in any way, shape, or form, this is my email address. And I would love to hear from you. And I would like to say that on Tuesday, I was moaning a little bit and feeling sorry for myself that no one ever sent anything to me at darshanyeshiva.org, which is my email address. And Kimberly, bless her heart, sent me some beautiful pictures and some Israeli music, and it was wonderful. Thank you, Kimberly. I want to take this opportunity. And again, I would like to apologize for, yes, and I even started on time. You know, that's bad when you start on, as I said, Rabbi Patrick says that if you start on time, that there's something wrong with you, because you're starting early, because Jews, we are known for starting late. I would like to also, at this moment, let me go back so you can see that it's actually me talking. I would like to apologize for the bit of audio trouble we had, but I'm almost not going to apologize because I've been having my volume turned off and I haven't gotten to hear any of the music or anything because I have been told that I would have terrible feedback, which I didn't. So now I get to enjoy what's going on too. Lanny, you know I'm particularly thrilled that you're here tonight, and I'm sure that your friend is very grateful to you, and I am privileged to have attempted to say the Mourner's Kaddish for him. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Does anybody have any questions or comments before we go? You know how much I love all of you, and I'm so happy to see you here. I wish I could just reach through there and hug all of you. So Kimberly, Adele, Lanny, Glenn, Franklin, and guest 664, I would like to say Shabbat Shalom, Happy Hanukkah, and I'm very grateful to you for coming. I hope to see, I'm going to be doing some services in January, and I will get those up on the schedule as soon as possible. So please keep your eyes out looking for me, and I hope that you will come so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I'd like to say good evening.